Hello, everybody, to all those early birds. I say to you, welcome and thank you for being here early. Much appreciated. We will be starting at 12, so grab a cup of tea, grab some water, send that last email, check your bank balance if you must too, to see how this is going to really help you flip the script on our mind and money resets. So I'll chat to you all very soon, and thank you for being early. I heard the phrase the other day, being on time is late. So thank you for being here. But I'll see you soon in the next 9 minutes. Nikki, hello and welcome.
Hi, Ronald. Thank you.
I can't hear you, Nikki. I can't unmute myself.
You can't
Can you hear me?
hear me. Okay,
While
just give me a
being done.
second.
I can't hear you.
Okay. The mic on. Okay, can you hear me now?
Nikki, I love the AI hands you brought in there. I just saw these AI hands pitch in to help with this.
It's my tech support.
Still nothing. And I even have some people early that are also helping us with that. Hello, Mr. AI Tech. Great to meet you. Thank you for helping out.
Hey there.
Okay.
Can you hear?
Still no luck, Nikki. Still no luck.
Because it's plugged in.
Maybe just pull out the mic.
Don't worry, we've got time before we start. We are
Okay.
early.
Oh, it's working. It should be the microphones.
Oh, I see Nikki's got the professional microphones there. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's test. It's working. Look, test.
Maybe let's just use the computer.
No, look, it's all working there. I can see the audio.
Maybe just pull it off.
While Nick is busy sorting out that sound thing, Nikki, if you need to go back and come back, go out and come back in, that's all good. No stress. I'll
Okay.
be here. So to Alison, Amira's here twice. Amira, welcome. Danielle, Jesse, who's telling me about brokenness. Luandile, Michelle, Nokwanda, Nomusa, Pretty, Tandeka's here as well, and Tokozani, all early. I love that. I love that.
Ronald, is this better?
So part of my mindset shift has been that often I rush in last minute and dial into these sessions. And the one thing I've realized is I need to respect time a lot more. So yes, I too am here early and ahead of the curve. So folks, let's just give Nikki a few minutes and then we can rock and roll as the clock hits 12 or just after. Oh, can you hear Nikki? Nikki, do you want to say something?
Ronald, it seems like Jesse can hear me.
Oh, because I can't hear Nikki. Let me check my side. Give me a second. Nikki, say hello to me.
Hello, Ronald.
Oh, yeah, there you are. There you are. To the AI.
Awesome.
I'm glad. I really hope that your AI tech had underarm that was potent because I just saw those arms coming in and out, you know. And it was. I am glad you didn't faint. All right, fantastic. So we've got 2 minutes, and then we can rock and roll with this amazing discussion that I'm excited to have.
Same here. How's this jacket looking? I think my jacket's feeling.
That jacket is looking perfectly fine.
I should have put it on. Sorry.
All right, but
I thought I was on mute.
either which way, it is on point and on track. And folks, it is now 12 o'clock on the dot. So to say to everybody, let's come into this session, let's rock and roll with what we're going to chat about, and let's really dive into it and to really share with you that this is your session. This is a session for you to engage, to ask questions, to really get value from those that we talk to in this session. So please use this as yours. There's a chat function available. Put your questions in the chat, your comments. Share information on there. We'll try to get to as many questions as possible if they come through, but also to say to you that there will be a couple of polls coming up. So if you can complete the poll, that'll be great. So we can just get some insight, and Nikki will help curate our discussion, not broadly, but really get into what is specific when it comes to mindset and money reset as we talk to our audience that's here today. So folks, let's get rocking and rolling. And I say to you all, welcome. Mind and money reset. Stop leaking capacity in 2026. I'm Ronald Avergy, and I'm glad you're here because we need to start with something real. And I put my hand up first as I say this, and I say this without pointing a finger, without judgment. And it's this: a lot of people are not bad with money. We're just tired. We're earning, but sometimes feel left behind. We're working hard, but still feeling pressure. We're trying to stay focused while money worries keep running in the background like an app that never closes, that drains the battery on our phones. And all of that matters because money pressure is never just about money. It affects your sleep, your attention, your patience, your decisions, your energy at work, and even how you show up at work and how you show up at home. So today is not about guilt. It's not about try harder. And it's not another budgeting lecture. That we leave to what we're going to hear in Parliament this week, the South African budget speech. This is a reset opportunity. It's an invitation. And if you take one pearl action, something that really resonates or lands with you, please share that. But that is what the intention of today is. Because 2026 does not need more motivation. It actually just needs better infrastructure. So at HLC, we call this capacity leak, where your energy, focus, and emotional bandwidth, and often your money, keep draining even while you're trying your best. And here's the key. It's not about fixing those drains or those leaks with more effort, because you fix leaks and drains by identifying them and redesigning the system. It's to help you unpack this from a professional, a practical, and a behavioral money perspective. So I'm joined today by Nikki Gaju Freelinghuis. Did I say that correctly, Nikki?
You have. Thank you, Ronald.
You never know nowadays. Freelinghuis, house, But yes, you know what I'm trying to say, Nikki. Thank you for joining us. And Nikki's a seasoned financial services professional and entrepreneur with over 20 years of experience in wealth management, financial planning, and business growth. She's held senior roles in major institutions, and today, through Opulentus Wealth Management and Imali Coaching, she helps people not just improve their finances, but their relationship with money. Hey, I don't know about you, man, but my relationship with money can definitely be addressed and fixed, and it's been years in the making. But what I really value about, what I've learned and read about Nikki and her work is this, that she understands that financial success is not just about spreadsheets. It's actually about behavior, identity, and resilience, and making those realistic choices when it seems so hard to do that. Nikki, welcome.
Thanks, Ronald. Hi, everyone. Quite excited to be here and looking forward to see how this afternoon session unfolds.
So, folks, before we kick off, I just want to put out a quick poll. Have a look as it pops up. Complete the poll for me. And I'm just highly curious, right? Can you see the poll? Ooh, and it's about the Mind Money Reset introductory poll. I want to know, how often do you think about money in a day? Is it rarely? Is it a few times? Is it several times? Is it often? Or is it, OMG, Ronald, stop tapping my brain because it is constantly on my mind? Jesse, 100 times in one day. It's all the time. All right. Thank Jesse for, as they say in Afrikaans, smearing the papan dik with the poll questions. All right. I'm going to end this poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Nikki, as we can see with this poll, we actually have the majority of people that sit between constantly, often, and several times.
That doesn't surprise me.
And thank you for your honesty, folks. Thank you for your honesty. There's no polished answers here. This is real conversation. And you'll find how honest I'm going to be as I reflect that to you to help create this safe space where you know that whatever questions you ask, we're going to try to give you the best support information as possible. So when I look at that, here's something I want to share, Nikki, before we kick off into our discussion.
Sure.
If money is taking up a lot of mental space, and that's a lot of us that are saying it takes up a lot of our mental space, that does not automatically mean you're failing financially. It often means your system is creating friction. Now, I spoke earlier about, we at HLC speak about human capacity, and we look at 5 areas where we tend to leak capacity. Energy leak, boundary leak, and energy leak is you're getting things done, but everything feels heavier than it should be. Boundary leak, you say yes too often and stay available too long. And at the end of the day, everyone has access to you but you. Values leak, you're busy and productive, but deep down you know you're spending too much time on what pays now and not enough on what matters most. The relationship leak, which is tension, unresolved conflict, carrying other people's emotional weight, drains every ounce of energy for your own life. And finally, identity leak, because you keep performing at a high level, but your self-talk is stuck in survival mode. So even wins don't feel secure. So as I listen to how many of us are constantly thinking about money in a day, Nikki, I don't know about you, but what are your thoughts on that? And from your observation experience and working with so many people, is this something that is common?
Ronald, this is really, really common. If people, say otherwise, that, oh, they don't think much about money, I'm going to call them out and say they lying. And once again, I do appreciate everyone's honesty. Because I have the opportunity to work with people on a daily basis, people from all walks of life, mainly your professionals, your high income earners, I often observe that what they struggle with is not making income. They actually struggle with the structure around managing the income that they have, right? So you'd find a lot of professionals and a lot of high income earners, they're earning well, but because when they do not have a system governing where or how their money flows, they're experiencing financial stress. And it makes them feel as if they're not doing enough, they're getting left behind, etc. But it's because they've got no system. They really don't know how the money's flowing. And if there's no structure in place, people feel overwhelmed, they feel financially unstable. You'll hear people say, I really don't know what's happening with my money. It comes in, it goes out. I have no idea where everything's going, even though I budget effectively. So, what I can say in summary is that if you do not have a structure, even if you earn 100,000 rands per month, right, versus 25,000 rands per month, you'd rather earn less but have structure because it gives you more stability than be in a situation where you're earning more but everything's chaotic because you have no structure.
So it's not a lack of income, it's a lack of structure around money.
It's a lack of structure around money.
And when you say structure, very high level, what does that mean that we should be aware of, and really maybe do a self-audit, right? Before we chat to an expert like yourself and others in our chat like Amira and Anrich.
So structure is going to be more around the systems we have in place. What do we have in place to actually assist us in terms of where our money is going? And rightfully so, you said earlier on, this isn't a budgeting discussion, because this really isn't a budgeting discussion. It's more about saying, okay, this is the money coming in, but what systems are in place to actually effectively manage the structure of money that I hold?
Okay, I get you. I can't wait to unpack that a bit more and share some tools and tips and action points around that. But as we speak about this and structure, and I know that for myself, there's a lot of times where I look at, man, what's coming in doesn't equate to what's going out. And I get that now. Structure is critical, right? And having that raw, honest audit of
Yes.
what am I doing? But what concerns me more from a mental health perspective and a human capacity perspective, and in your experience, because the beautiful thing is you've got the financial planning and the financial side, but the coaching side too, is
Yes.
how much mental bandwidth does financial uncertainty actually consume when people don't have the structure and or clarity on their money situation?
Good question. So, if you look at it on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest, financial uncertainty will come in between 4 to 5. It consumes all your bandwidth, right? Financial uncertainty, if I may use an analogy, can be linked to what I call an invisible thread, right? It's
Mhm.
happening on the back end, but you just cannot see that it's happening. So it silently consumes your bandwidth. When your finances are unclear, your brain keeps on doing a loop in the background, and your brain keeps on asking, I take this back to the poll that you just had earlier on, where you're constantly thinking of money. Do I have enough? How many days to payday? Am I being left behind? Those type of questions continuously loop in your brain all the time, and that is where your question of how often do you think about money keeps on coming in, because you have financial uncertainty, and this loop is what consumes your bandwidth. And this is the reason why you find a lot of people who are suffering from financial stress, it overspills into the work environment, because this loop is taking up your bandwidth. And instead of focusing on things like work related activities, you're thinking about your finances all the time. And the impact at work is lack of concentration or focus. It affects relationships. It affects your performance. It affects leadership.
Mm. I love that. So it's that invisible thread, right? And I can't wait to unpack more on these, on maybe the top 3 invisible financial leaks. But I want to put up a poll again. And I'm curious as to what Nikki mentioned and what I mentioned, is that in dealing and being and thinking about money so often in a day, either you have too much, you don't know where to spend it. Fantastic problem to have. Please share your secret. Number 2, not enough money, but nothing to spend anywhere else. I can relate to your problems, right? Both as a business owner, but also as an individual. I want to know, in your life today, where are you leaking capacity? So have a look at the poll, and this is which area in your life are you leaking capacity right now? Is it your energy, where you're functioning, but you're running on fumes, right? You're running low. Is it boundaries, where you are available and too available and you're paying for it? Is it values, when your effort and what matters most are out of sync? Is it relationships, where people stress is draining your capacity both at work and at home? Or even online for some people? Yes, online. And is it identity, where you look fine but internally I'm still in survival mode, but I look good? Right? Let's just have a look. We've got a couple of people completing it. And Nikki, this is great insight to give into seeing how it shows up, where we actually need to address the root cause of the financial component, which could impact
Yes,
and plug these leaks, right? So,
right.
right, 12 out of 36 have completed. Fantastic, folks. Keep going, keep going. Choose your options. We're going to close this in 10 seconds. The beautiful thing is a time on top, right? 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2. Okay, I see people completing. We're almost there. All right, I'm stopping the poll. So, Nikki, when we look at the results,
Tell me.
the results say
Oh, wow.
energy, 10 out of 21. I mean, that's a lot. So lack of
That's a
energy,
lot.
boundaries, I get. Values, wow, my effort and what matters most are out of sync. Relationships and identity, where I look fine, but I'm actually still in survival mode. So when we look at this, it's energy, it's values, and identity. I mean, that's interesting, folks. Thank you for sharing. Nikki, as we have this insight from our audience here, what are some of those top 3 invisible financial leaks, invisible financial threads you spoke to that you see most often, the ones that people don't realize are causing these drains or leaks in their lives?
So, Ronald, I'll share the top 3 that I found that I'm common amongst a lot of clients that I work with. And please bear in mind, for some of you, as I say it, you may think, oh, but I know this. But you may know this. The reality is, are you implementing off it? Or is it just a matter of awareness? So the first one is know your core numbers. So what do I mean by that? When I work with a lot of clients and we have discussions around money, and I may, for example, ask in consultation, Ronald, so you say you've got a home loan, what is your outstanding bond value? More often than not, as high as 99% of people would not be able to tell me what's their outstanding value. And this is not only for a home loan, whether it's vehicle finance, a personal loan, a student loan, clothing accounts, whatever debt people have. So if you don't know your number, this is how the brain starts tricking you, right? So your brain always looks for worst case scenarios. So picture a person who has no idea what their core number is around their home loan, and they only have 100,000 outstanding with 6 bond payments outstanding. But because they don't know what their numbers are, their brain can easily be tricked to thinking that they may have the equivalent of a 10 million rand bond, which feels like they've got 100 years worth of bond payments to pay off. So be careful of the brain. When you have uncertainty around your core numbers, the brain is always going to trick you, and the brain is always going to make you seem as if you're doing less. And you would be tricked into thinking that because you don't know what your numbers are. So the first thing is clarity around your core numbers. The second one, and this would read a bit to the poll, right? This is what I call lifestyle inflation with no infrastructure. So this has happened to me in the past when I worked at a corporate. I'll be the first one to raise my hand and say I'm guilty of this. And some of you on the call may be able to identify with this. When a lot of professionals or people on the call may get a salary increase or a promotion which results in an increase, or even if they change jobs and get a substantial boost to their income, what do a lot of people do? A lot of people immediately start looking at upgrading their lifestyle. You find them looking at upgrading to the latest, be it German or even Chinese vehicle, etc. And while doing this, they forget to actually upgrade their savings and their investments, or they forget to do it intentionally, right? And when they do this, you find that people are putting themselves in a situation where they are creating financial regression, right? So even though the promotion comes in, you've got more money, etc., no infrastructure will take you backwards in your finances. The third one is a very common one. We spoke around the emotive aspects of money. The third invisible thread for me, and quite a big one, would be emotional avoidance, right? A lot of people struggle when they get that email saying, here's your bank statement, or here's your personal loan statement, etc. Open with using your password, your ID as your password. How many people on this call honestly open that? Very few people do so, because that means they've got to come face to face with that figure which they want to avoid. Because what does the figure stir up? The figure stirs up a whole lot of emotions, whether it's guilt, whether it's shame, whatever it may be. But generally, it's never positive emotions. And avoidance compounds stress. It also promotes loss of control with regards to your finances, and that further amplifies anxiety. So the key here, when you look at these 3 different invisible leaks, Ronald and everyone on the call, is to say that these leaks are not dramatic. They happen very subtly in the background, and they become repetitive, and in time they become ingrained money patterns.
Wow. I enjoy that. Nikki, there's a quick question here, and I'm just going to tackle this from Dumasani. He
Sure.
asks, is constantly thinking about money a bad thing?
Yes and no. If you're thinking about making more money, for sure, that's positive. And if you're thinking about how you can expand your side hustle, for sure, it's positive. But if you're caught in that loop of constantly, do I have enough? You're counting down the days to payday. That's already putting your body, your mind, everything into a state of negativity. And that is where things like fear, anxiety, stress, fatigue, etc., increases because your framing is more from a negative perspective as opposed to a space of expansion, where you think like, oh, I've just got a bonus of 100,000. How do I grow this into 200,000? The feelings are very different.
Yeah, but also the realities, right? That immediate gratification, dealing
Yes.
with the role we perceive to let us feel good. I mean, getting a bonus of 100,000, firstly, I think is a blessing. Secondly,
Yes.
is, oh, what can I get for this? How do I reward myself for this?
Mm,
And I don't know about many people out there, but the last thing on my brain for many years, many decades of my life was, how do I compound this? How do I save this? How do I make
mm.
this work for me? And I wish that is something that got drilled into me a lot earlier in my life. So Dumsani, I hope that answers your question. And Nikki, let's get practical with this, right? I mean,
Sure.
we've given amazing insight, and I really enjoy the way that you've positioned the invisible leaks because we're speaking not just theory, we're speaking the reality of what many people are living at this moment. If someone wants to feel less financial pressure, and let me give it a tight deadline, this week before the end of the month. I'm not saying we're gonna magic wand fix your financial stresses, but if you want to feel slightly less financial pressure than what you do now, not just perfect, just a little bit better, what is the first structural move that they should make?
Okay, so as long as everyone acknowledges that this isn't a quick bullet, but the first thing that people can do, which won't take a lot of time and effort, is actually separating their money into what I call purpose driven accounts. For most people out there, people just have one account, and that's the account your income comes in, your fixed expenses go out. Everything just happens within one account. And that's
Mhm.
also why a lot of people say they're earning a considerable, a good amount of income, but it seems like nothing's happening with that income. They, at the end of the month, they can't really see where the money's gone to, right? Even though the bank statement's going to show the inflows and outflows. So this is where our whole concept of infrastructure comes in, Ronald. What I recommend is by separating your money into purpose driven accounts, this is how you do it from a practical perspective. The first thing is by now, everyone has one transactional account, which is the account into which all your income is going in, right? And it's also the account where most of your fixed expenses are going. But what I'm going to urge everyone on the call to do is to open up two further accounts. Now, this can be with the same bank you bank with, or alternatively, if you lack a bit of discipline, seek out two different banks where your transactional costs are very low. And the two other accounts that you are going to create, the first one's going to be what I call an emergency account. So the rule of thumb is at any point in time, you should have a minimum of 6 months worth of expenses saved up. And these and this amount should go into a separate account that we generally call a high interest bearing account. So if anything goes wrong, there's an emergency, you've got peace of mind knowing that this money is in this account, which you can access and keep yourself going. Now, an example of an emergency, Ronald, is not buying the latest Nike sneakers that have been launched. An emergency would be unforeseen circumstances like a retrenchment, which was unexpected. Now, if it's in a separate account, be it with your same bank or with a different bank, it makes it difficult for you to access, right? And the third one would be what I call a personal account or a me account, an us account, or a family account. So, this account is where you're going to take money from your transactional account after all your fixed costs have gone out of the account. You're putting money into this personal account, which you now use as what I call your guilt-free account. So this is the account you use for if you want to purchase something for you, if you want to go to the movies, entertainment, that type of thing. Those monies go into this particular account. Now, by separating into 3 different accounts, you've got that one disciplined account for income coming in and all your fixed expenses. So these are generally going to be things like your home loan, your car, your insurance, those non-negotiable expenses, right? Everything goes off from there, and whatever surplus is left after you've put money into your emergency account with the same bank or a separate bank, then you move it into this third account. Then, if kids say, hey, let's go to the movies this weekend, and whether you've budgeted for it or not, if there's money in the account, you can utilize that money without impacting your main account where your fixed expenses are coming. So this is something that's may for some be quick and easy because it's a matter of setting up 2 different accounts in addition to your main transactional account. But for a lot of other people, this may be quite challenging because it's something new, it's different, and it's also saying that now you've got to separate monies, right? And when you start separating monies, you can take 2 to 3 months and then get back to me and say to me, Nikki, okay, now I see where my money's going.
Wow. How many of us can actually say that we can see where our money's going? In this instance, I have been victim to and immersed into ignorance is bliss, and really get into that capacity drift loop where my capacity gets drained in one or more of those 5 areas, and it just loops away, and it drifts away from what I should be doing. But Nikki, what you spoke to as well was, and thank you for that. I mean, the purpose accounts and separate accounts, I mean, that's great to look at, and practically it is something that we can do with ease in the next day or so.
Yes.
So it's not something that you must wait for one day if and only. But you alluded to something else, which is important for me. And this is something that I've had the conversation with myself and maybe many others have. And I want to ask everyone in the audience, type a yes or no in the chat, or just type a yes in the chat. If you've ever told yourself, when it comes to your money, I just need more discipline. Have you ever had that conversation with yourself and told yourself, I just need more discipline? If you have, type a yes in the chat. I don't know how I type like 25 yeses here. How do I copy and paste this and highlight mine in pink neon light, right? And I see, thank you folks for sharing here. Thank you for being vulnerable. And don't do me so. I love that discipline. Mabon. Waroka, keep disciplined. I love it. I love it. Okay, good. Thanks for chatting. So a lot of us here in the chat seems to have said that to ourselves. Now, most people don't have a discipline problem. It's actually a design problem, right? It's an infrastructure structure problem. You can hear even our office dog, maybe you hear him, is barking in echo of that. But if your system is unclear, manual, and emotionally draining, discipline has to work overtime. So, Nikki, I know we said we're not talking about budgeting, and I'm not talking about how to budget, but I want to know from you, with that being something that becomes so important for us to do, because that's like your plan, right? That's your game plan. Why does budgeting fail for so many people, even smart, capable people, professionals, and entrepreneurs? Why is that the case?
So, Ronald, you alluded to it, right? Budgeting is built on willpower, right? It's those soft feelings, that type of thing, right? And most budgets that we set up for ourselves are either unrealistic or they're restrictive, right? Because the brain tells you you've got to be, putting an X amount of money away. And if you don't, you're going to live in poverty. You're going to retire in poverty, right? That's the brain telling you all these things. Budgeting, when we do it, we're supposed to assume emotional neutrality, right? So there should be no emotion around it. But here's the thing, money is all about emotion. The minute you mention the word money, and if everyone's cameras were on, we're going to see different expressions on different faces. For some people, they're going to smile. For other people, they're going to frown. For other people, they're going to be like, oh, please don't, I don't want to discuss this topic. We're going to get mixed emotions. So money decisions are emotional. And if your system depends on motivation, right, to budget, and you're having a bad day, you're tired, you irritable, someone cut you off in traffic, you're feeling stressed, etc., your budgeting's going to go out of the window, right? But if your budgeting is linked to a system, that's very different because an infrastructure will always beat discipline hands down every time.
Oh, if this was the case for health and wellness, we would all walk around with six packs. It's not easy.
It's not
And
easy. It's
not easy.
really not easy.
Yeah, and that's what I'm picking up here. And this conversation is really holding up a mirror to myself as we delve into the mindset and this money reset. And I love the fact that we're not going into practical tools, what you must do, shouldn't do, budget this item, that item. It really is about creating the foundation and the base for sealing those capacity leaks, creating this engineering, rather, the structure as we call it, and then of course elevating, your ability of well-being and thriving. Now, Nikki, let's go a bit deeper because
Okay.
not all financial leaks are numerical. Some are also identity leaks. Sometimes the pressure is
Okay.
not, I don't earn enough. Sometimes it's, I need to look like I'm doing well. I can't slow down now. I deserve this after everything I've been through. Everyone else seems ahead. Now that's where money and identity get tangled. And a quick reflection for everyone. And a lot of us said this. Now asking this question because when I looked at the 5 capacity leaks, in the top 3 was values. It doesn't align to what we fundamentally believe and what fuels and drives us. Here's a question for you all. Is your current lifestyle aligned with your values or with your image? And I can tell you right now, I have both. Mine's aligned with my image at 60% and with my values at 40%. So there's no judgment, just awareness. I'm sharing and share as well. Is your current lifestyle aligned with your values? And write the word values in the chat, or with your image. And you can write the word image. It's not good, not bad, not right, not wrong, no judgment, just awareness. Because what Nikki spoke to was that issue of willpower, but also misalignment. And that is what leaks capacity fast. And that's what does not give us a solid foundation of our human capacity to elevate the structure, especially when it comes to our money. Nikki, do you often see lifestyle pressure, social pressure, family pressure, image pressure driving financial strain?
All the time. All the time. I'd like to take us back to earlier when I spoke about lifestyle, right? So a lot of professionals, when they get that increase or a new job, they upgrade the lifestyle before upgrading the infrastructure, right? So your image expands faster than your systems because with the increased income you have, if your image is important, looking good, mind those Italian suits or shoes or whatever it may be, right? You're putting more into that than what you're putting into your savings and your investments, right? And a lot of lifestyle upgrades are identity driven. So it's all about I'm now an exec. What should I be driving at this level? What suburb should I be living in? Which country am I next visiting? I'm certain you're all familiar with the line keeping up with the Joneses, or these days I hear keeping up with the Kumalos, whatever it may be, right? The thing is, everyone is vulnerable, and at some point or the other, we all succumb to lifestyle pressure, right? So what I find with lifestyle pressure is that it slowly, silently starts eroding wealth.
It does. And
Because
it's
you're giving
well.
more to image, sorry, Ronald, as opposed to giving more to your future self.
Mm, mm, mm. Sure, that hits home and hits deep and it's hard. And
It
also
is.
our decisions and this reality that we have to face, and image versus values impacts food on our table, roofs over our head, family, those things that are critical. All right, great. Quick one. What is the one question someone should ask before upgrading their lifestyle in 2026?
Well, you've already briefly mentioned this, right? Is this aligned with my values or is it aligned with my image? And then also, can my infrastructure support this sustainably? Right? Because there's going to come a stage where you're not going to be able to afford those Italian suits.
Yeah, thank goodness I don't wear suits anymore.
No disrespect to those on the call
Yeah,
wearing it.
none. If my suit comes out, I think twice a year. I think Yolanda's in the chat here. She'll tell you selectively, selectively. Okay, Nikki, as we move towards the end of our discussion, I want to look at practical things that we could use. At HLC, we look at human capacity engineering, and we look at how do you seal the leak. And one is identifying the leak clearly. It's about acting differently in small ways. It's engineering the structure so it stops leaking, and then you review it so that the change holds. So if we
Sure.
apply this to personal finance, right? Let's look at the
Right.
first step, diagnosis, identifying the leak. So very quickly, quick fire, folks, take a pen and paper, or check out on the platforms later. There'll be a recording of this. Take your notes down because we're really going to go through those steps to give you some options of practical tips. So Nikki, if we diagnose where we're at right now, we have done
Sure.
some work, we have the willpower to open up those statements and do whatever we need to do.
Yes.
So if someone wants peace around money, you mentioned it earlier, I just want us to recap it. What are those essential numbers that they must know?
Right. The core numbers that you must know, the 5 most important one is your net monthly income or your net cost to company, or if you are a commission earner, an average of your 6 months worth of commission. The next one linked to that is your fixed monthly expenses. Thereafter, we have your total debt and the interest rates linked to each debt. So home loan, X amount, interest rate, car, and as you move down, you must know the outstanding balances as well as the interest rates. The next one is your savings rate percentage. How much are you saving each month? And that will give you an idea in terms of whether you're saving enough or not. And lastly, I would say, lastly, but most important, is your emergency fund coverage, right? As I mentioned, you should have a minimum of 6 months worth of expenses saved into your emergency account. So look at your emergency savings. Does this cover 6 months expenses or not? If it doesn't, then you've got a bit of work to be done in this area. What I'd say is without these numbers, you are literally operating blindly and you don't have an infrastructure.
When you say that emergency fund, is that under the mattress or is that in a bank account? Just asking.
Bank account, we don't do under the mattress, Ronald.
Nikki, then we look at behavior. It's about acting differently in small ways. So what
Right.
daily or weekly behaviors reduce financial anxiety the fastest?
Okay. So I'd say simply get real with yourself and your finances. So the terminology would be engagement, right? We spoke about this earlier on with the bank statement. Avoidance grows fear, but visibility shrinks it. So if you start off with weekly structured engagements around your finances, you'll find your anxiety starts dropping drastically before your numbers start changing. And that's good because we want our anxiety down to get into clear, focused thinking. And you'd find that your control of the situation increases and your confidence around money will increase. So it's just engagement.
Engagement. Thank you for that. Step 3, folks, take your notes, take your notes. Structure. Stop the system from leaking. This is what we call engineering your capacity. So what minimum money engineering or infrastructure should someone build in the next 30 days as a starting point and then scale from there? Is it automations, debt plans, cash flow visibility, rules? What is your suggestion on that?
Okay, so it's a few of those. First would be what I discussed earlier on, the account separation, right? So if you have a few different purposeful accounts, so to speak, it will firstly give you visibility in terms of what you have, where everything's going. The next one, which a lot of people underestimate, is automated savings, right? A lot of people say, oh, I'll save when I have more money in the future. That future may never come. We all know this. I'm also guilty of it. Let me be the first one to raise my hand. By automating your savings, for example, if you say each month you want to put 2,000 rands aside towards your retirement or a holiday, and you have a debit order for that. So what that means is if you're getting paid on the 25th of each month, you're automating this. You know that 2,000 rands per month is already going into an investment instead of you procrastinating and looking at your surplus at the end of the month and then saying, oh, do I have enough to put 2,000 rands per month into an investment, right? So automation, very big, very important, very, very helpful, and can bring you a great amount of success when you do this. The third one would be a weekly review of your finances, right? This is this whole aspect of getting real with your finances. If you do a weekly review, you will notice the week that you get paid, everything's looking rosy, right? By the second week after payday, things should still be pretty okay. By the third week, still sort of okay, you know. By the fourth week, you know, okay, you know, we've got to stretch this out now before payday, or maybe not, depending on the individual. But this awareness will totally change your finances and the choices you make. Because if you're looking at it and you're seeing, I get paid in the first week, the bank account's looking healthy. By the second week, there's absolutely nothing. Then you're going to have to go back and reflect, right? Something's certainly going to have to change. Whether you're going to have to look at implementing systems and infrastructure, whatever it may be, I can't tell you. But if you start doing a weekly check-in, it's going to create awareness. And I've alluded to this a few times already in the call. The other big one would be the emergency savings account. And please, that is so vitally important. A lot of people, when COVID hit us and they got retrenched or they went on to reduce salaries, etc., they called me and thanked me for the emergency savings because that is what helped. It helped them and it kept them going until finances improved. So I'd say that would be the minimum things you could consider putting in place over a 30-day period.
You know, part of what we look at as we engineer human capacity for individuals, teams, leaders, entrepreneurs is making it hold. And that is where the infrastructure is there, but you are tracking it, right? How often should someone review their financial system so that they can stay in control without becoming obsessive or anxious?
Okay, so two responses to this, right? So the first I'd say is, as much as I'm encouraging you look at your finances on a weekly basis, I'm going to use a terminology light touch. When you look at it weekly, look at it from a lighter perspective. Don't judge yourself. Just look at what's happening, observe, diagnose. I'd say each quarter do a deep dive because that gives you sufficient evidence, time, etc., to do a deep dive. But also, if certain trigger events happen in your life, like a retrenchment happens or something unexpected takes place, don't wait for your 3-month deep dive to now review your finances. Do it immediately, right? The second response is saying, do not do it on a daily basis, right? I've often seen clients where each day They go to bed, before they go to bed, they look at their accounts and they look at what's come in, what's gone out, and they go to bed in a state of panic, in a state of fear. They don't sleep well. They call me the next day, not feeling great about themselves. Listen, we all need to live. That is why we earn, right?
Mm.
The reality is by doing it on a daily basis, for some people, I'd say if you have an investment account even and your investments are growing, don't even look at it on a daily basis, because if your investments are going great, you'll feel happy about it. If they're going down, you're not going to be happy about it, right? Your bank account is no different. Wherever you are, everything in moderation. A 1-week light checkup would suffice, and you do that deep dive on a quarterly basis.
Awesome. Nikki, as we finish up our chat, are there any last thoughts or pearls of wisdom or insight or anything you'd like to share with us?
Sure, certainly. Ronald, I don't want people to think, oh, Nikki's the expert here. She's got everything together. I'd like to share personally from my side. My money journey has been an ongoing journey. And when being a certified financial planner, you learn a lot about the technical aspects. But the minute I started doing money coaching and learning about the cognitive behavioral sides of money, that literally left me speechless, because even though I was doing well on what even though I was doing what appeared to be doing well on the technical side, behaviorally, I was so messed up when it came to my money emotions, whether it was things like guilt, shame, whatever it may be. There was so much I had to work through. And here's the reality. I did my studies 5 years ago. I've been practicing as a money coach for the last 4 years. But money for me is an ongoing situation. Every single recommendation and everything that I've shared with you today are things that I personally put in place. That weekly engagement, that light touch, my day for doing that is every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. with a nice cappuccino, right? So, what I'm trying to say is wherever you are in your journey, be gentle on yourself, don't judge yourself, but also take the first step towards awareness. Awareness is power. We've shared a lot during today's session. I'm certain the recording would be shared. It would be available on platforms. Listen to it. In 3 months' time, go back and listen to it. You may be in a different space. You may pick up something different to what you're picking up today. Because as we grow and change, our ability to process things changes. Today, you may not be ready for all the things I've said, but you may be ready for what Ronald described as one pearl of wisdom, and that's all you take. But in 6 months' time, you go back to this recording, there may be more pearls of wisdom that you'd want to scoop up and utilize. So, all I'm saying is be gentle on yourself. This is an ongoing process. I wish you all the best with your finances for the rest of the year. And do reach out if you have any questions or if you'd like to discuss anything in detail.
Nikki, thanks. And just to share with everyone that some of you are here because you want to grow wealth, and some of you are here because you just want to breathe again. And both are valid. And this is not financial advice for your unique situation. This is practical behavioral reset opportunities to help you reduce stress and build better habits. And if your finances feel messy, don't try to fix everything tonight. Chaos gets calmer when you sequence it. And that's all about building that infrastructure. Nikki, thank you. This was practical, grounded. It was, deeply important, resonant to me. And to everyone else watching and joining us today, if you feel overwhelmed, hear me clearly. You're not broken. You're not behind because you might feel that you're incapable. In many cases, you're carrying the pressure inside a system that needs redesign. So let 2026 be not about overreaching. Let it be about stabilizing the base for that engineering of this human capacity infrastructure. Financial clarity is part of that. Boundaries are infrastructure. Decision hygiene is infrastructure. So I love and leave you with the following. Find the human capacity leak, seal the leak, and elevate. Thank you for joining us. See you soon. Cheers, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.
Right. Thank you, folks. Have a great day. Cheers. Nikki was amazing and awesome. There's a massive thanks, Nikki, from Aisha. Appreciate this. We can find the recording. Aisha, it will be available on the relevant platforms. We will keep you posted on that. Amira, thank you for joining us and the magic work that you do. Ndumiso, thank you coming in. Ndumiso joined us. Hi, Ndumiso. You only say thanks, Nikki. Angas. And me.
Don't be jealous,
Nothing.
Ronald.
Jella. Jella. Oh no, that was amazing. So thank you so much. Nikki, I'm gonna end
Thanks,
the
Ronald.
discussion. All the best. Bye everyone.
Thanks. Bye.